Hello. I'm going to call this meeting to order on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, for the Wakefield School Committee open session. We are now going to take a roll call vote to move into executive session. And I'm just going to read the bylaw here under open meeting law, executive session exemptions number 2 and number 3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Do we have a second to this motion? Thanks. Thank you. At this point, we're going to have a roll call vote. I'm just going to ask every school committee member to state their name because the public cannot see your face, and then just vote yes or no. I'll start with Stephen.
Stephen Ingalls, yes. Peter Davis, yes. Kevin Piscatlo, yes.
Melissa Quinn, yes.
Alex Nauman, yes.
Kevin Fontanella, yes. We have now moved into executive session. We plan to be in executive session let's put it this way. We plan to return to open session at 7 o'clock, where you will see us hopefully at the WCAT studio. Okay, thank you very much.
Kevin, go ahead.
Are we good right now?
Okay.
We're good? All right, we have just exited executive session and are now back in open session in the WCAT studio. Agenda item number 4, say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of our mission statement. The vision of the Wakefield Public Schools is to graduate students who are confident, lifelong learners who are respectful and caring members of their community. Our mission is to prepare students for college, career, and community by providing a rich and challenging curriculum, high-quality instruction, and educational experiences that meet their individual needs and interests. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any member of the public? I see no one in the studio. Is there anyone on remote in the waiting room for public comment? Seeing none, we are going to exit public comment. Next item on the agenda is our Student Advisory Council. Do we have any students in the waiting room to have anything to report?
Too busy this time of year.
All right, I guess we do not have a student report. Hopefully everything's going all right with our schools, and we'll look forward to our next meeting to get an update from our high school students. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. I believe we have a motion.
Move the school committee approve the minutes of the October 14th, 2025 school committee meeting and accept the minutes of the October 16th, 2025 policy and communications subcommittee meeting.
Second.
All right, the motion has been seconded. All those in favor? And the vote is unanimous. The minutes have been approved. Okay, next item on the agenda are budget items, and there are none. So we will just pass that agenda item. This is very rare where we do not have budget items. Next item on the agenda is our superintendent's remarks. Dr. Lyons.
I just have a few comments, and then I'll be turning it over to Kara to report on curriculum and MCAS. It looks like football will be playing Thursday night. I'm kind of reporting on behalf of Mike Murphy, couldn't be here tonight. So football will be playing Burlington on Thursday night. Soccer, the boys soccer will start the state tournament next week. Field hockey did not make the tournament. It's a kind of a rebuilding year for them. Girls volleyball is ranked 8th in D2. They're waiting for 2 teams to play before they get their next game scheduled. But they should have a pretty good run again this year. This will be their 3rd year participating in the state tournament. Cross country, the league championships were yesterday. It looks like they were 3rd overall. Boys ran in Woburn. The golf, our golf program's undefeated this year, and the boys won the Middlesex League title. Braden is at golfed, I think, today at Division II states, so that's what's happening there. Swimming, league championships, the sectionals in the state is upcoming. Cheerleading, Middlesex League championships on Monday. Dance starting their competition season. Marching band, good news there. The Gatsby Show clinched another gold medal in Quincy on Sunday evening, which was an amazing show. Congratulations to all involved there. The kids did just a terrific job, and thanks to all of our parents and supporters to make that band show go off. It just gets bigger and better every year. So also wanted to let the community know that there's going to be a fall varsity sports award night on November 17th. So there'll be more to follow there, and our athletic director, Michael Murphy, will be sending out some information on that. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Kara and our curriculum coordinators to report on our MCAS 2025 results.
Great, thank you. I'm just wondering if it's possible to see the curriculum coordinators on the screen. They're all presenting via Zoom. If I could see them on the TV, or is that not possible? Oh, they're there. Thank you. That's okay. Yeah, if the presentation's up there and then they're there, if that can work, that would be great. All right, great. So before I start, I would love to begin with introductions, just so you know everyone who's here. So I will start with Lisa. I think you're in the upper corner. Why don't you start, and we'll just go around.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Tibbetts, and I am in my first year as the elementary STEM coordinator.
Erin, you want to go next? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jen.
I'm Joanne Marks. I'm the 5 through 12 science curriculum coordinator.
Erin Bailey, 5 through 12 math curriculum coordinator.
I'm Margaret Messier. I'm the 5 through 12 ELA coordinator.
I'm Valerie Dryden. I'm the K-4 elementary humanities coordinator.
Hi, Jason Havey, 5 through 12 history social studies coordinator.
Great. And this is
Can I
Jason.
just ask?
Oh, yeah.
We're getting a weird feedback from our, I don't know if you're hearing that too. There's like a weird audio delay where we're hearing ourselves.
We are not hearing that.
Okay, we're not hearing that. So I think Ian's probably on it. I can start with an introduction. I know, I had no doubt. So I'll just give just a brief introduction before, and we have a little time in because we're going to show the video as well. So obviously you can see it's a collaborative effort. As we get every year, our MCAS results are made public, and we really dig into the information. We share it out with our teachers. We spend faculty meeting time on it, department time meeting on it, just trying to wrap our heads around what this information can tell us. We've, this group in particular, a couple of new faces on the team, but we've been doing this presentation for a number of years. We thought we might change up the format in which we presented it to you this year. We were fortunate to work with Dave Cartoonin from Cartoon Ed, so we really want to thank him for his support in putting together this video in collaboration with our curriculum coordinators and myself. We really wanted to capture, I think we talked about this at one of our meetings, the recognition that we received from Department of Elementary and Secondary Education related to our grades 3 through 8, that our students met or exceeded pre-pandemic levels. So that was something that was a really big highlight for us, and we'll talk about that a bit in the beginning of the video. And we thought we would structure the video to begin with that, and then to share a bit of a story on what we attribute to that recognition and where we got there, and also share how we're starting to see things move in the right direction on MCAS. While we don't feel like we're where we want to be yet, we do feel hopeful that things are moving in the right direction. And then I believe at one of our meetings we talked about just wanting to see a little bit more on the other ways in which we're measuring our student success. So we built that into the video too, just talking about the other ways we measure achievement and success in our students. So that's just kind of a quick idea about what will be featured in the video. We'll play it, and then we thought we would open it up for questions. I was thinking about structuring it by content and level, like elementary ELA and math questions in that way, if that works for all of you. Okay. Good. All right, so Ian, I think we're ready. We can play the video whenever you're ready.
The MCAS results are in. Wakefield is one of just 13 districts recognized by the Commonwealth for meeting or exceeding pre-pandemic levels in both math and ELA in grades 3 through 8. And one of just 2 districts with 3,000 or more students who achieved this. We've done this while our student population has grown since 2019 across every key demographic. It is a testament to the incredible work of our students, our educators, and our entire community who supports them. We're proud of the accomplishment while knowing there is still work to be done. In this video, we'll show you how strengthening our curriculum, resources, instructional practices, and equitable access are contributing to this growth. We'll go deeper into our MCAS results to show areas of improvement. We'll dig into other sources of data because we know progress doesn't begin and end with the MCAS. And we'll preview the work ahead, how to build on this to ensure every student can achieve excellence. Wakefield's team teachers, curriculum team, and administrators have been on a 7-year effort since before the pandemic to improve the learning experience of all of our students. We've organized this collaborative effort into 4 key areas to show how it's getting done. The first is curriculum. We've adopted high-quality instructional materials to ensure what our students are learning is aligned to educational standards, is rigorous, research-based, and is instructionally supportive to our teachers, including comprehensive curriculum reviews in math, ELA, world language, and science, with social studies in process this year. These reviews have resulted in the consistent adoption of new curricular resources aligned to state standards in all content areas, with the goal of creating equitable learning experiences across all grades and departments. We want our students to learn more than facts. They're also learning how to figure things out to build their thinking and reasoning skills. Second, we built systems for monitoring student progress to ensure our students are learning and growing. Third, we strengthen our interventions when students need extra support. We're using Open Architects, a comprehensive data platform, to visually represent all of our student data in one spot. This is critical for student data meetings, ensuring a more consistent approach to identifying students, creating instructional groups for intervention, and centering conversations on what each student needs. We've prioritized additional staff for intervention, special education, and English learners. And in our schools, this means more offerings for skills blocks in math and literacy at the high school, and a What I Need block, also known as WIN, at the middle and elementary schools for students to get extra help or enrichment. Fourth, our professional development is focused on refining our instructional practices and supporting our educators in meeting the needs of all students, with topics including the science of reading, universal design for learning, culturally responsive teaching, support for multilingual learners, and a heavy focus on supporting teachers with curriculum implementation. In our classrooms, teachers have been changing the design of workspaces and lessons to increase student engagement and encourage our students to collaborate, communicate, and model their work as they productively struggle to understand. The product of 7 years of hard work by our educators to implement curriculum improvements in Wakefield schools is showing up in our MCAS results. At the elementary level, our 3rd graders have improved in math and ELA over last year, with a greater percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards year over year. Our 4th graders improved significantly in ELA, from 47% meeting or exceeding standards in 2024 to 56% in 2025. Their math scores remain steady, with about 60% of students meeting or exceeding standards. At Galvin Middle School, all 4 grades consistently perform better than the state in math and ELA, and have returned to pre-pandemic levels of performance, positioning them in a good spot to exceed past performance in future years. Our 7th graders stood out in math, where we had the highest number of students exceeding the standards since before COVID. 7th graders also had the highest student growth percentage of our middle school grades in math. These are important indicators showing the adjustments we've made to the acceleration point in 7th grade have been effective. In ELA, the big middle school improvement has been in writing. Every middle school cohort, 5th through 8th, improved their performance in writing development since restructuring the curriculum to have more focus on consistent writing instruction. In grades 5 through 12, we've seen tremendous growth across cohorts in MCAS writing development scores from 2021 to 2025. Last year's 10th graders, for example, grew 20 percentage points in their development scores between the 5th and the 10th grade. In the science MCAS, we saw improvement overall among 5th graders, including many of the subgroups we track. This is an important indicator for the work we've done to intentionally align our science curriculum to the state content standards and science and engineering practices. Our 8th grade and high school science scores remain steady and above the state in the percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards. And for the first time, our 8th graders took the MCAS civics exam, outperforming the state. These results reflect students' growing understanding of democracy and their role as active, informed citizens. 53% of students met or exceeded expectations in civics, which tracks closely to 8th graders' performance in the other MCAS subjects. At Wakefield Memorial High School, our 10th graders outpaced state averages in ELA for the 5th consecutive year, and continue to grow in math, where the 10th graders showed an improvement from their 8th grade MCAS performance, going from 42 to 48% in both performance and student growth percentile. We know that growing student achievement doesn't start and stop with the MCAS. That's why our curriculum team adopted universal screeners like DIBELS and iReady Reading and Math, along with writing benchmarks and other assessments across content areas. These tools are also demonstrating growth, even among our youngest learners. We use DIBELS to closely monitor our students' progress in developing foundational literacy skills. In the past year, we increased the number of kindergartners at or above grade level in DIBELS by 13%, while first graders at or above grade level improved by 16%. 75% of our students in grades K through 4 scored at or above grade level on DIBELS. In the iReady diagnostic, across all of our elementary schools, 72% or more of our students in every grade scored at or above grade level in iReady Math by the end of last school year. And in iReady Reading, that percentage is 77% by the end of last school year. At Galvin Middle School, each grade level showed extraordinary growth in iReady Math. 42% of fifth graders started the year at or above grade level, growing to 75% by the spring. In sixth grade, that figure grew from 46 to 65%. In seventh, from 46 to 63%. And in eighth grade, from 45 to 60%, all while cutting in half the number of eighth graders 2+ grade levels behind. Our fifth graders showed incredible growth in iReady Reading, starting last school year with 44% of students at or above grade level, increasing to 71% by the spring. And at Wakefield Memorial High School, we have another way to measure achievement. In the advanced coursework our students are taking and succeeding in. Nearly 70% of our students completed advanced courses last year, including students with disabilities who jumped 15% in completion rate from 32 to 47%. More than half of low-income students completed advanced coursework, an 11-point jump. Wakefield Memorial students are scoring 12 points higher on the English SAT than they did 2 years ago, and nearly doubled the number of students earning the seal of biliteracy. On the 5-point AP exam, our high schoolers are racking up college credit at a significantly higher rate than their peers in the Commonwealth. In ELA, they score higher on AP language and literature exams than the state average. In math, they're nearly a half a point higher on the calculus AP exam than the state average, a half point higher in AP US history, and a staggering 1.5 points higher on the AP exam in biology. This isn't just a remarkable body of work from our high school students, but Wakefield educators putting in incredible time and effort into preparing our students for college-level material. We're incredibly proud of the individual progress points of our students, our instruction, and each of our schools. And we know that these bright spots demonstrate points on a canvas, not a comprehensive image of academic excellence. That's why our work continues to focus our curriculum for the benefit of every student. It starts with consistency, so these efforts lift all students. We're continuing to align tiers of instruction at our elementary grade levels, so classroom teachers, interventionists, and special educators serve each student where, when, and how they need it. We're improving the ways we align our data meetings, practices, and how we use data to know when students need support or enrichment. We're prioritizing curriculum and instruction visits to share ideas between educators. And we continue to strengthen the paths between elementary and secondary education to continue these efforts as our students grow, including creating new units of study and increasing their common experiences to promote equity. Each year, our MCAS results offer Wakefield Public Schools an opportunity to identify progress and success stories, collect data, and identify areas of improvement. Our statewide recognition in 2025 is also an opportunity to celebrate a tremendous effort that started before the pandemic, to build a strong foundation for every student. We've made this effort consistent, and we're committed to it, in every school, in every classroom, for every student.
Okay. Yeah, I thought, I think it was definitely a lot to think about how we wanted to capture the whole story for you. I think just reporting out on MCAS and there's a lot of information to dig in there. We also wanted to make it more engaging because it can be kind of a dry presentation every year. So that was our intent, was to just give you the whole picture of what's going on in the district and how it all ties together. I don't want to be redundant and repeat information you just heard, so we thought we would open up for more of a dialogue right now. We have all of our curriculum coordinators here who are experts in their subject matter, who can jump in as well. So happy to open it up.
Does anyone have any questions for Kara or our curriculum coordinators?
Or if you need more information on anything, because there was a lot of information at once.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, with all the improvements, and the one standing out was like the writing development. What's been the focus? What's had that big impact on our students' achievement in improving those scores?
Absolutely. Margaret, I'm going to give this to you because I know you love to talk about this.
We don't have your audio coming through. Ian, we can't hear her, but it looks like she's not muted.
Nope.
It's not her, it's Ian. It's
Can you hear us, Margaret?
Okay. I can. Oh, there.
The Halloween, the premature Halloween voice. There we go. This might be on.
I was going to try to fill the quiet air, but.
try now, Margaret. See if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Okay, all right, good.
You got the question,
So
Margaret,
there's
right?
still the echo, but I think we can deal with it as long as you guys can hear us. So we have shifted from, in 2020 when we made changes for the pandemic, we kind of abandoned Pearson, which had no structured or systematic writing program. And we reorganized our curriculum so that each term focused on a type of writing, whether it be informative, narrative, argumentative. So we really made the focus of the term on writing and then weaved in the literacy skills because we hadn't done that in the past. And then in the past 3 years, we brought in the Empower writing process, grades 5 through 12. And while we're still getting that off the ground, I think we're already seeing the benefits of it. And we hope to continue to see our writing development improve because it's honestly not where we want it to be yet, but we are seeing tremendous growth, especially across cohorts of kids, which I think is the most meaningful data to look at.
I have a follow-up to that question. So when we're looking at our writing improvement, are we trying to kind of standardize the way that every teacher is approaching, whether it's thesis writing, argumentative essay construction, whatever type of writing we're talking about? Is this something that we're trying to be uniform across the district, like within a grade level and subject matter?
Yes, so that's all part of the Empower Writing program is the process to approaching writing, and it doesn't matter which writing type you're working with. It's slightly different for narrative writing, but it's still the self-talk questions, evaluating the prompt, creating a very organized way to have kids thinking about developing their ideas before they start writing. But one thing we really like, or I think we, and I speak for the teachers who have worked so hard to learn and execute this program, is that it's not a graphic organizer that boxes them in, and then when they don't have it, they have no idea what to do. It shows them a process, and it shows them a structure that they can then duplicate on their own when they're taking something like the MCAS or any other kind of standardized thing that they would have to take. And walking them through that process, we're hoping if we really bring it home in the the middle levels, 5 through 8, by the time they get to high school, especially junior and senior year, they know the program so well that they're using the pieces of it that make sense for them. And a big part of it is the brain frames to organize their writing, which I think you saw in the video, one of the teachers, brain frames and process organizer. So we're working very hard to make it very consistent across 5 through 12. And to build a bridge between 4th and 5th, additionally, to bring it into the social studies so that they're hearing common language in an interdisciplinary way as well.
Thanks, Margaret.
Great.
Yeah, I do. I want to compliment the work that has happened there. I think that that's a direct result of a recommendation made out of the curriculum review, and just some of the analysis that was done was finding that our student writing overall, development was not where it needed to be. And I think we found that a more structured approach, a more consistent, aligned approach is what needed to happen. And I think we're seeing the result of that, which is nice. And then, ahead of that, we've adopted a more structured approach at the elementary level as well. So we talk about it all the time when we're thinking K-12, and we're starting to hear it now, just like in terms of how prepared our students from the elementary are coming up to middle school, and their skills each year are getting, are getting higher and higher each year. And so they're going to just be able to take it that much further.
Kara, can I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Bob, sure.
Well, first of all, Margaret, I'm so impressed with you being able to present with this echo, because I can't promise I'm going to do it as well right now. Very distracting. But we didn't really highlight the elementary writing improvements in the presentation. However, it is moving in the right direction in elementary as well. So in 2022, we were scoring at 23% for third grade, and we're now up to 30% this year. Obviously not where we want to be, but moving in the right direction. And same with fourth grade. We were at 34% in 2022. Now we're at 38%. And I think Margaret and I have been talking a lot about the connection between fourth and fifth grade. Recently, we've done some work with that. And in elementary, as Kara said, the writing approach is more structured in the EL core literacy that we're currently implementing. And so one of the things when the fifth grade teachers came to visit fourth grade that they picked out, which really highlights the structure of the writing, is they saw that there was a topic sentence, but they called it a focus statement, right? So we were talking about the overlap of the language between fourth and fifth grade. So it was a focus statement and details and a concluding statement. And that really builds from kindergarten at the sentence level to first and second grade in the paragraph level to third and fourth grade in an essay format, but follows that same structure all the way through.
Thanks, Val. Thank you so much. And I realized I just opened it up for questions and didn't structure it the way I said I was going to at the beginning. So do you want me to go back to that structure of by level, or do you want to just free questions as you go? Okay, perfect.
Could I ask if, and just to piggyback off what you were saying, Val, about sort of drawing that line between fourth grade and fifth grade in ELA, I noticed that there's sort of a fair consistency between MCAS scores going from fourth to fifth transitions, and we can see that, which is great. We don't see that same sort of line through in mathematics. I think, and we've seen this in previous years as well, that sort of that jump into middle school sort of cause, I don't know if it's transition or whatnot, but I'm wondering if we've continued to sort of look at what that is, especially seeing that we've clearly made some strides in the ELA process. If there's anything to be gleaned from that we could apply to some of the other subjects to sort of...
Sure. Do you want me to just jump in quick, Val, and then if you have anything to add to it, feel free to jump in. But yeah, no, so I think as we went through the math review first, and we were able to look holistically K through 12 and look at curriculum resources that would work well, we were able to find common curriculum resources for math, being IM, which was pretty consistent K through 8, and then some of our courses at the high school. I think we found that it really does help to have kind of like that consistency K through 8, to have common language, common instructional practices, common routines. So, I mean, I think there's some of that we can look at. We are, in terms of ELA, as we were going through the review process, and there was a heavy push from the state around high quality instructional materials, there weren't as many models at middle schools as there were. So we kind of stayed focused on K through 4. And then the 5 through 12 group did a really nice job of just putting a heavy focus on the writing component, which Margaret just described, making the recommendation to adopt Empower as our structure approach to writing. And then they spent a lot of time on aligned curriculum guides to make sure that even though we might not be using like this one set program, that we were aligning in terms of resources and content standards and practice standards, that sort of thing. So I think as things are evolving, we're still looking at it. I think our implementation at elementary has gone really well in ELA, and I think it's something to look at when we look at reading comprehension, writing like kind of a holistic view. Writing development has shot up 5 through 12, but we're looking at the whole picture in ELA, and so it's something that we're still just kind of having conversations about. And as just mentioned, Val and Margaret work closely together. There's been some interest touring some of the elementary classrooms from 5th to 4th. I know in past years we've done like a 4 or 5 working group just to kind of talk about what's expected of 5th grade, what's happening at 4th grade, just try to bridge the gap. Because it is something that we've had an eye on, is that dip, for sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
More comment, maybe a question in there eventually, but I really like the video.
Oh, good.
I think it's an effective way to tell the story. I mean, it is a little different than just having it presented, and it is engaging, and it helps tell, I think, a really great narrative of the work that's being done here and how many hands at all the different levels that have to come together and work together. The amazing work in the classrooms, the coordinators, the administrators, and just really thankful for how hard everyone works day in and day out. But it's nice to see that resulted in the outcomes and to get the recognition that everyone's gotten, deservedly so by the state. It's just something to really be proud about. Is that video going to be made available for people to watch?
That's our plan. That's what we were thinking, that it could be something we post to social media that's just out there. We wanted it to be a public-facing video that could just be referenced back. So that's our plan.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the only other maybe question in there is, I know sometimes, I forget the exact terminology, but like subgroups, or have you identified any subgroups in particular that we or you plan on paying particular attention to in terms of their performance and helping the goal, of course, of all students continuing to achieve?
Absolutely. Do you want, I can start, just jump in if I'm talking more and anybody has a thought to add. I think that we're looking at all of our subgroups really closely. I think we paid particular attention to our multilingual learner population, which has just increased significantly over the last 5 years. And that has been just something that we've just kept a close eye on in terms of resources, curriculum, intervention, support, really just looking at all of our systems and making sure that we're not, that we're including, our students in all of our conversations, whether it's reading intervention, along with multilingual learner support, et cetera. The curriculum piece in both, there's so many, I'm going to say ESL now. I feel like there's so many acronyms for multilingual learners, but you know what I mean. For ESL, we haven't dug in. That's something that our department is looking at right now in terms of looking at, as our population has grown, aligned curriculum. Also using, part of the decisions that we made around our core curriculum resources is that they were accessible to all of our students. And so it's trying to familiarize our special ed teachers, our multilingual learner teachers on these resources and how we can find entry points for all of our students so that we're not reinventing the wheel over here in this pull-out support and then students go back into the classroom and are left not really knowing what's going on. So we're trying to make those connections to streamline as much as possible to make our students' experience pretty consistent and common. So that's where I would say we're not totally where we want to be there yet, but we're keeping an eye on that. I would argue too, special education as well. I think there's just ongoing conversations around where are students best served, where do they get the best support to match what they need. Sometimes that is in a separate setting, but we're keeping a keen eye on like what is happening in that separate setting in terms of curriculum, expectations, progress monitoring, et cetera, so that we're not with well intentions widening the gap because they might be missing out on something that they could have benefited from in general ed. So I feel like our curriculum team is constantly talking about, we've done a ton of work on general ed. We kind of say tier 1, what's happening for all students in our general ed classrooms. And now I can see us kind of taking it to the next level and really dipping into more work with those subgroups. Somebody wanted to jump in. I'm talking too much. Yes, jump in. Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
I was just also, to your point around looking at the MCAS data and the different subgroups, I would say each one of us really digs in to the data itself. Any data, right? Whether that's benchmark data we have over the course of the year or the MCAS, we spend a lot. Our team spends a lot of time looking at low-income students, definitely students with disabilities. Kara mentions multilingual learners. I would say historically, any population that's been historically marginalized. We're looking for kind of at all the angles to see how are these students doing? Are they showing the progress we're hoping for and expecting of them? And then if not, then what? And so I think that's a constant, continuous question. So I wouldn't say we are looking at any one subgroup. When we're looking at the data, we really try to look at all the graphs, all the angles, and ask all the questions to make sure we're doing right by all the populations, especially those who might not traditionally be working for.
So going along with
I also
that,
might add, if it's okay, I might also add that at least 5 and above, because that's the data that I have in front of me, even though there's a low percentage of students meeting and exceeding mathematically in those grades, their SGP, their growth percentile, is above 60 on average. And that shows really high growth. That's categorized by the state as high growth. And so for multilingual learners in particular, the growth is probably more important than their performance because they're having to grow in their capacity to understand the language as well as the content. And so that's really encouraging to see.
That's a great point. Thank you very much.
yeah, I have a question regarding actually what you just said about the SGP or the growth percentile. Have you guys looked at, because it looks like it, just like you said, the SGP does seem pretty consistent, like grade-wise. Like it looks pretty good. You know, you don't really have many dips, you know, below 40. It's a lot in the 50s and 60s, which is really strong. Is the growth percentile for our special education learners, do you have that identified as a subgroup, like a growth percentile? Not to throw you on the spot, but like I was kind of like looking at the growth percentile data for the subgroups because that kind of helps more than the raw numbers. Sorry, that was a gotcha question. So you can totally email.
I don't have that
You can totally email it back.
It's okay. I've got the subgroups in front of me for secondary math. And so when I look at those, grades 6 through 8 have pretty consistently been above 40.
Okay. Great, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
And, just for folks that don't know what SGP is, and because there might be some that are watching and we're throwing it out as a number, could somebody just explain that?
Yeah, so SGP takes how students did last year and compares them to like peers and compares how much did they grow compared to those like peers who performed at their same level last year. And so a score of under 40 will indicate kind of low growth. The state norm's at 50, but they consider anything from 40 to 60 to be moderate growth, and then above 60 they consider to be high growth. And so if you had like an SGP of 52, for example, that would mean that on average, students grew better than 52% of their like peers from the year before.
And would that mean that they just answered more questions correctly? Or am I oversimplifying it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I maybe had one more question. I'm curious about if any impact at all from MCAS being taken away as a graduation requirement. I'm thinking that perhaps we're, statewide, we're still using it as a tool, even if it isn't a graduation requirement. But has there been any any kind of effect on sort of how we approach using it as a model from sort of how it was used before?
At high school or across the board?
Across the board.
I mean, I just heard, simple feedback, that kids in high school, there's less of the pressure. And I don't want to say that, I don't have any evidence to say that kids didn't try as hard. But I think it does take the pressure off that it's not a graduation requirement anymore. So there is a worry about that in terms, I don't know if anyone from high school wants to add to that.
I will say on one of the, I don't know, I've been reading so much on this because it was a real concern for us, and I did see that in 10th grade across the state in ELA, the scores dropped 10 points from 2024 to 2025, and ours remained exactly consistent. So, I mean, you could probably spin that data any way you wanted to, but I just know that that's kind of how we compare to the state. And I think something that we really need to emphasize, and we're trying to have teachers emphasize, is it might not, I mean, it never counted for middle school, so I don't know why they're saying it doesn't count anymore, but I think emphasizing the point that it might not count towards graduation, but it does count towards making sure you're placed in the most appropriate interventions, enrichments, levels, and it's really like in your best interest to still give it your full effort so you can make the most out of your education. I mean, I know executive functioning wise that might not matter that much to them, but I think emphasizing that even though it doesn't count, we are still using it is super important.
Sure.
I would also say that while like grades 3 through 8 were recognized for coming back to their pre-pandemic scores, if we're looking at like the 10th grade scores, those are the kids that were still kind of really impacted at a super influential time. And again, I'm thinking mathematically because that's my lens, but you know, they were in 6th, 7th grade when they had 5th, 6th, 7th grade when they had really interrupted learning. And the recovery from that is a little bit more intensive than it was a few years ago when they were taking it and had kind of already learned Algebra 1, for example, and then we're still trying to navigate through other things. So while I think the 10th grade MCAS scores for math have kind of been on a downward trend, it doesn't necessarily surprise me or the staff based off of the skills that were most impacted. And I'm hopeful that as we're seeing the students improve overall in 3 through 8, that that's going to trend upward as well.
So as a teacher, I'm not shocked at all by the data that we've seen on 10th grade MCAS scores, right? We were in the buildings, we saw what happened. But whether or not you believe that MCAS should be a graduation requirement, I think we can all agree that MCAS serves as a really useful data point, really for all of our grade levels. So hopefully there's no middle school students watching us right now, but it's it's just always, it just makes sense intuitively, right? That our elementary and middle school students, are going to, take the MCAS more seriously just because, they're at that, there's no real, I don't think there's people telling them, hey, it doesn't count like when you hit
that we're not even
here.
talking about graduation requirements.
Right. So I think it's important, that when we look at 3 through 8, I mean, personally, when I look at the 10th grade data, the only way that data matters to me is comparing to other towns. Mm-hmm. And even then, that's not even necessarily that good because who knows? Like you might have like towns doing some crazy, motivation, mm-hmm. that is, it's kind of tricky to gauge. So I do think that the 3 through 8 data, I would definitely tell, parents that that's really much better mm-hmm. data, to look at when you're evaluating.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd like to thank the curriculum coordinators for your leadership in this space. I think, I also want to point out to the committee and anyone who might be watching that the iReady data that we have is we correlate additional data points beyond MCAS here. So I hope people didn't miss that. Mm-hmm. And I also want to talk about something new this year, a tested area that hasn't been tested before, and that's civics. Mm-hmm. And Jason, I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the civics test and the results that we got.
My first MCAS presentation. Thanks for the invite. So this was our first year, just like every other eighth grade student in the state, where it was an operational, right? So it was required by every eighth grader to take the civics exam. So we don't have a lot of trends to look at or anything like that. What we did notice is that the eighth graders, the kids, it was almost identical, the percentage of kids who exceeded or met expectations in the civics to ELA, science, and math. So they performed almost exactly as they did in the other subjects. Because it was their first year, we don't have any of the DART data to really compare to other districts yet. There's no real trends. I will say, just like the test in general, we really weren't sure what to expect or what it was going to look like. Just so if you're not familiar with it at all, it's really two parts. There's a state level test. And so in the civics curriculum, there are 8 topics. And so what the state did for this is they told the district, they told Wakefield, your kids are going to be tested on topic number 4. So it gave our teachers a little bit of a focus to kind of prep the kids with or emphasize a little bit for the year. I think topic 4 was like the responsibilities of citizens. So they did that. And then the second part of the test was kind of the end of the year course. So it covered everything. And a lot of it, just the feedback from the students, feedback from the teachers, and then looking at some of the samples that Desi put online, is that it was a lot of just looking at, it was heavily based on skills. It wasn't just memorizing like the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. It was like looking in primary, secondary sources, analyzing them, looking at like political cartoons. They were giving you maybe a problem in your town. How would you solve that? Like a civic action type of project that the kids worked on throughout the year. So that's kind of like a quick summary of it. And like I said, the data is super comparable to what they did in the other subjects.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that, the state is recognizing social studies as the equal of the other subjects. So I'm glad that, I remember, I might be older than you, but I remember when they rolled out the MCAS, like when the MCAS was rolled out, and then they just canceled the.
1 year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, which was good and bad as a history teacher. But yeah, it must have been nerve-wracking just on year 1 for the test, just how to know what to do. How'd you guys go about that? Like in terms of like working with your 7th and your 8th grade teachers?
Yeah, so last year we opted in for basically the practice test. So we kind of had all of our 8th graders sign up and they took it. And then, as you know, like Desi will sometimes provide the practice test online a couple months beforehand. So teachers would kind of use those as like mock tests or mock lessons to kind of get the kids ready to do that. And then it wasn't really reinventing the wheel. Like we do a lot of those activities in our day-to-day classes. Like I said, looking at primary and secondary sources, looking at issues in the community, how can we solve that, the branches of the government. So it wasn't, the teachers and the kids felt pretty comfortable taking this test.
Great, well, great work.
Thank
you. Are there any other questions for the coordinators? Pete?
Can you remind us how many years in we are on both the new ELA and math curriculum? I know we're not that long, since my time is I think where both came from, approximately.
Yeah, the years are all blending. I had to cross-check myself the other day. So ELA review was 3 years ago, Margaret and Val? Yes.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
So we're in the 3rd school year of the new curriculum, or the 2nd?
We're in the 3rd year, I want to say the 3rd year of introducing Empower, because it started out with professional development and onboarding of staff. For EL education, we had our first year be an opt-in, and we actually had 100% participation. So that was really our first year, but it was kind of like, Val calls it year 0, right? Is that? But it was great to have. I mean, that alone was just such a huge thing to have 100% participation with an opt-in choice. So then this is now we're in our 3rd year, right, Val? Gosh, the years are all blending.
We were just talking about this the other day at the 4 or 5 meeting we had, but year 0, we called it year 0 because everybody opted in, but it was at like that low risk opt-in of like, I'm gonna try. I'm going to not necessarily keep up with the pacing exactly as it is. And so there was a varying degree of implementation that year. And I feel like, so we're in year 2 of like everybody implementing with the same pacing guide, the same resources. We worked on really getting feedback from teachers in that year 0 about what's realistic for the pacing. And we worked with the leader team to be able to adjust that. So this is year 2 of like the full implementation in the same way at the same pace.
Yeah. And then for math, go ahead, Margaret.
No, I was just going to very quickly add, although we didn't do our curriculum review in English until 2023, we realized during the pandemic that we needed to change things up. And so we shifted to the writing type based curriculum guides in 2021. And then we added Empower on top of that in 2023.
And then math was our first curriculum review, and I believe we are in our 6th year, Lisa and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, it depends on if you're talking year 0 or year 1, right? But
Right.
the review was done in 2021.
Yep.
And so we've been working on it ever since.
I mean, I think the most exciting piece here is to see when, our youngest kids, when they go through the program from the beginning, how they'll turn out. I mean, I think our hope is, based on all the work done, to find significantly better curriculum than we had in instructional practices, that we're going to have much better outcomes than we had from before. The other piece I know you've spoken to us about a lot, and Dr. Lyons mentioned it as well, between iReady and Dibbles, our ability to know where kids are without waiting for the MCAS. We had none of that ability years ago. I remember I'd be like, oh, how does that compare to before? And we just didn't have the data.
Right.
And now we have those benchmarks, so we know where kids are doing well, where they're struggling, how they're doing mid-year versus end of year.
Absolutely.
And it gives us the ability to really focus on the areas where our students may be struggling or need additional assistance. So I just think, I mean, it's exciting to see where we are from this progress, but I'm more excited to see where we're going to be when all of these have had the opportunity to have kindergartners experience all of our curriculum from start to finish and see what the outcomes look like.
Absolutely, yeah. The rate of change can feel slow, but it's been, such a commitment to really do the heavy lifting of figuring out what we need, looking at all that is out there and making these decisions and then putting them in place and then implementing and making sure that everyone has what they need for support. So it's been a tremendous amount of work, but I think now we're all feeling really good about things that we have in place, systems that we have in place to really dig in this year. We've talked a little bit about kind of the work we're zoned in on, and just in terms of instructional practices and seeing everything kind of come alive in the classrooms and making sure that we're all in the know, from teachers to principals to the curriculum team to Doug and myself, just that we all can kind of see things in action after all this work. So it's really been positive. And like we said, we're not where we want to be yet, but we're moving in the right direction, and we're starting to see that impact.
But we also have students that haven't experienced this improved practices of instruction and curriculum since kindergarten.
Exactly.
So, we may see that soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much for your hard work. And yeah, I think that, the great improvement in scores is a testament to all the work you've been doing, so thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We're going to have Joanne hang back, but everyone else can go. Thank you.
Joanne gets double duty.
Yeah, so we figured, Joanne, we did you a favor, right? Because you were going to be here anyway, so we knew you wanted a science update. So we had talked about that in our past meetings. So we thought, we might as well, Joanne's here tonight, just give a quick update on the implementation or the work that's happening since our science curriculum review wrapped up last year.
Absolutely. I am going to try and screen share from my computer here, which I think they set me up to be able to do. So thank you, Ian, or whoever's back there.
I think the deck was up.
I think Joanne wants to be able to manipulate the
hold on. You can see all my
slides.
tabs.
Because she can't have a clicker.
I got it. Not missed.
Yeah, there's a lot of clicking, so I'm give me 1 second. All right, let's see what we got here. Give me 1 second. Share. Whoa, on my computer. All right, here we go. How does that look?
Yep, that looks good.
All right, great. So, good evening. Thank you for giving me some time here just to talk science. I wanted to give you, or I think Kara had asked for, just an update on how it's going, right, where we are. So I wanted to first kind of frame our work, and all the work that we have been doing is in service to our department vision that we collaboratively established a few years back. So I wanted to review that first, because that's really our guidepost for the work that we're doing. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but emphasizing equitable experience for students. We want to be igniting curiosity, fostering critical thinking. You're going to hear a lot more about students making sense of relevant phenomena and also kind of engaging with what are called the science and engineering practices throughout a unit as they're making sense of new content and as they are gaining evidence to then make decisions and to make sense of the content that they're studying. So that's our work ahead of us. And that we want to remember that this is a process, right? That the curriculum process is a continuous cycle. So right now, we currently land at the beginning of phase 3. And we are deep into that in science, into the logistics and the details of making these changes in our classrooms. Realistically, we expect to be doing this work for a few years. So we expect to be kind of living in phase 3 for a few years to go. We're just at the start of it. I was here last in the spring to share some of the decisions that we had made as a curriculum review team. And we decided in the next 3 years, so for Galvin specifically, for Galvin Science, we made a 3-year plan for teachers to develop and implement phenomena-based units by 27-28. Grade 9 biology, similarly on a 3-year plan they are using OpenSciEd, which are phenomena-based units, as their kind of base, and they are customizing those and implementing those on the same timeline. And then we had also made some decisions as part of our curriculum review to offer new courses at the high school based on student interest, specifically forensics and honors astronomy. And so those are new this year. And astronomy in particular has also been redesigned to be phenomena-based. So we're heading towards that vision. All right, so to give you an overview, I wanted to start with grade 5. They are off to a terrific start, and students have been studying matter. They've been studying particle models of liquids, solids, and gases as they work to answer 3 different phenomena questions so far. They've really jumped right into this in grade 5 this year. So far, students this year have been looking to solve or figure out what's happening to balloon animals when they're dipped into liquid nitrogen and then come back out, and why. Why does a glass bottle break in super freezing temperatures? And then most recently, like this week, students are starting to study why do stone gargoyles seem to disappear over time, right? So again, this is an example of that leading with a phenomenon. And then, so what does this look like in our classrooms? Again, this isn't just in grade 5 specifically. Units typically start off, this is the gargoyle unit, with a video or a photograph that students need to observe. And they're encouraged to, strategically, these are high entry points, high interest rather entry points that all students can engage in. It helps to honor each student's previous experiences, right? We're all coming from a lifetime, 10 years, a lifetime for these kiddos. And what does that bring them? That means something, and to the knowledge that they have and they can share with their learning community. And it gives them opportunities to share and to build on each other's observations. So these ideas that students are sharing are organized in something called a notice wonder chart, or it has a few different names, but really it helps to kind of build a sense of community as you're puzzling together through figuring out this phenomenon. I was in one classroom recently where the student he was raising his hand for a long time, and then he's like, "Teacher, I have to go up to the board to show you." And so he was so eager to point out what he was saying and to actually be specific. And it was great. It was exactly what we're looking to encourage, right? Students are sharing their curiosity in all sorts of ways, whatever. There's not one way to do it, right? You can be physically pointing to get your point across, and that's great. One of the next steps in a unit is something here called a DQB, or a driving question board. And this is really just capturing all of the students' questions that they have regarding this phenomenon and say like, okay, we have to dig into this to really understand it together. Another highlight of these units is the incorporation of what's called student modeling. So I know from when I was a kid, you might think of building like a 3D model of an atom or something. But actually modeling these days, the term is used as a science and engineering practice in the state standards, and it emphasizes students showing their thinking of processes. So it really emphasizes, like, kids are going to show, each student's work is going to look different. We're looking for growth. This is their first initial model when they really have no idea, and so they're going to drive that down. And then how can we compare that to their understanding of this process by the end of the unit? And then finally, students are doing investigations to be able to gain new information, and hopefully that's in service to answering all of these questions they have, and then making sense of the phenomenon that they started off with initially. So that's, for September and October, grade 5 has been a great example of what we're working towards. It's happening in our other grades as well. So in grades 6 and above, various classes have been studying, or grades have been studying, how does hail form? Why don't we get much hail in Massachusetts? 6th grade's been looking at what is nuisance flooding? Can we predict it? Can we plan for it? What kind of impacts does that have on communities? Grade 9 has been studying what causes fires in ecosystems to burn. How should we manage them? Again, there's a lot of connection between kind of the science that we're learning and the human element to it. And then in astronomy, they've been looking at what's happening to cause this phenomenon known as Manhattan Henge, where the city kind of stops as the sun lines up perfectly down one of the streets. And again, in each of these different grade levels, we're seeing those same routines that we saw in 5th grade. So units are starting with a question. There's notice and wonder charts. Students are this is in bio. The students are creating a driving question board, right? Sharing all of their questions with the class. They're collaborating to kind of unpack what they need to know. In this case, they were collaborating, this was in 6th grade, and then presenting it to their classmates. They're doing investigations to gather more information, hopefully gathering evidence that can then support their new ideas. And they're exploring data in all sorts of ways. This is 8th grade, they were studying hail, so they're looking at hail pellet size. They were looking at time reports of hail. I went into this one classroom, this is with tides. Students were practicing graphing, and then in a different grade at the same time, they were analyzing data from a weather balloon, looking at temperatures at higher elevations. So already we're seeing just these embedded science and engineering practices kind of in every class and every day where these new units are being implemented. It's really exciting. So what's next? This is really just the beginning, right? So a lot of the grades started off the year with the new unit that they have been working on. And this is the hard work of our teachers. They've been spending many hours pulling, developing, working on, refining these units. And so what we'll see over the course of this year is that not all of the units are going to look this way. But this was the start for some of the grades. So this year, the teachers are continuing to develop and implement new units. Grade 7 in particular have been working on one of their bigger units, ecosystems, that will be rolled out this spring. The same thing with grade 9. They're working on 2 units. This year in particular, they are working to improve 2 units they started last year and trying to make them better for this year. And then the work continues into the summer. Well, we're going to keep developing, we're going to keep implementing, and then keep revisiting to see how it's going. And then my last thought, which I didn't put in these slides, but ties into the MCAS presentation, is that the MCAS in grades 5 and 8 is in the process of changing for science as well. The state thought that they were going to have an operational new test this year. They piloted a test last year. But they decided after their pilot to do a second year of piloting. So what a pilot looks like, and we will have it again this year, is that half of the test for grades 5 and 8 will be this new storyline. It kind of fits with these units that we are creating, and embeds the content into that. And then the other half, which is what we get results on, is the traditional mode. We don't get any results on how the pilot goes. We have no idea. And so we'll have to wait until the test is operational in spring of 27 to see how that lands. But that is news for another day. So that's my update. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Joanne. Thanks. Any questions?
Is there any questions or comments? Alex?
Yeah, just curious that you have for 9th grade, is it biology, open sci-ed?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, yes.
I'm just, was there any thought, like just because that's going to be in 5, 6, 7, and 8, they're kind of prepping, they're going to go to 9th grade and use open sci-ed. Was there any reasoning for not using that open source curriculum with the younger grades?
Yep, absolutely. So we had done a fairly extensive process over the couple of years, and actually each 6, 7, and 8 had piloted open sci-ed units and used them, and we worked a lot with our curriculum review team, and the teachers just didn't feel great about them. That said, many are pulling, like the hailstorm unit, for example. First of all, I should say, the units that we are designing are still in the same format as an open sci-ed unit because it meets the standards. Like that's kind of the new direction for these science lessons and what we know about how kids learn science. And so it meets the same format, and teachers had said, like, well, it's open source, we can pull these units. And so they are drawing from them. So I don't think there'll be a problem for students. I think they're in the same format as they move into grade 9 and to see the open sci-ed units. But it was a decision that kind of the team made with consulting with the teachers and kind of what they felt in their experience was best for kids.
There was a feeling, Joanne, correct me if I'm wrong too, because I know we were talking a lot about funding and applying for different grants if we were to adopt open sci-ed, and I feel like there wasn't like at the middle school level that feeling of like we can commit exactly as they're doing things. There was a desire to have a little bit more flexibility in approach. Is that fair, Joanne? In terms of like, true. And that's where it's kind of like the idea, and that was a request that was made. If we can create our own with the same intentions, and then pull some of the things that we like, but also supplement with other things that we like better. It was a tough decision. I know that Joanne facilitated that really well, and I think there was a lot of discussion around that because it is there is a push for open sci-ed. I think that we're hearing across the state, and but we also don't want to push something that we're hearing pretty detailed feedback from our teachers that they're not like quite feeling that this is the right direction for us to go in at this time. So I felt like it was a good middle ground where we landed, and we'll see how it goes.
Just had one other question. I know that's more 5 to 8, but and obviously science instruction looks different at the lower grades. Is there any connection to what the instruction they're receiving in science and K to 4 with how our 5 to 8 teachers are kind of designing units? And is that kind of similarly set out?
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as much as I'm not the K, or Lisa might still be here too, but the K4, I'm not the K4 person. However, I do speak with Lisa Tibbetts, who is the K4 person, who just appeared on the screen.
She might have something to say here.
And even so a few things just to speak to that, and then Lisa, please correct me if I'm wrong with any of them, but the science at the elementary has been growing, right? We have these established teacher spots. I think this is year 5 of them. And they don't meet, science meets consistently, and it's wonderful because it is consistent across all of the schools, but it's not that frequently. So a lot of these units, we did look at these big phenomena-based units with the elementary team as well, and you need time to be able to do them. So as much as they can take pieces of them and incorporate those into the lessons, they do. But it's the structure that we have, while it has many, many benefits. And I've talked to other districts who are jealous of our structure. But at the same time, we still lack in the amount of time designated to it. And that's just going to, it's a difficulty in elementary scheduling. That said, there are, the grade 5 MCAS is on grades 3, 4, and 5 science. And so Lisa and I were just meeting last week actually to talk about some of these like practice using the science and engineering practices within assessments, but not necessarily an assessment that gives you a grade, but like kind of a process of applying it in class. And we were sharing different ones that are appropriate for grades 3 and 4 to help build that type of learning in the lower grades as well. So those conversations are definitely happening. We just need to tailor them and really be thoughtful about what it looks like with more limited time in elementary. Lisa?
I definitely can't say it any better than that. It is a time, we are under that time constraint where in grades 2, 3, and 4, they're only seeing their science teacher twice a week. And in K1, they're only seeing them once a week. And I think that the science teachers are working really hard on making sure that those experiences that they're having in the elementary classrooms are discovery-based and very hands-on. And there are a lot of the same ideas about discovering phenomenon that go into those lessons, but they're on a much simpler level. And we're not able to incorporate all the structures that are modeled by 5th grade. But I think we're working really hard at making sure we're meeting across the K to 12 grade band, and our science teachers are really engaged in that work as well. They're preparing some things for us to send up to the middle school as kind of assessment-based questions to show the work that they have done in grades 3 and 4. So that we can help our kids be more prepared for the 5th grade MCAS. And so they are invested in that kind of transitional work as well. But they are under the constraint of what we're allowed to, what we can afford to give them for time right now at elementary.
And I also realized I went through the whole presentation without mentioning, kind of outlining what phenomena-based means. And so just to frame it, in general, we talk about a phenomena being something relevant, real, you can see it, you can experience it, whether that's wildfires or gargoyles look different or hailstorms, and that's the basis, that relevance is the basis for these bigger questions and like the way that you are presenting the content and the way that students are using the practices to try to understand their world better. So just want to add that 2 cents.
Thank you.
Great. Are there any other comments or questions?
I just want to say, because it's science and I love science. So I liked when we pivoted, hearing last year that it was phenomena-based and liking the idea of making observations instead of just being told what you're going to experience and then experiencing it. And then to your point, Alex, I think just sort of the elementary level just lent itself to that without even being called that first. It was kind of that discovery-based learning. And I would actually think that it was almost a natural sort of progression that the middle school and building that curriculum into phenomena is kind of what kids come from just at that younger age. I think they're kind of built doing it that way. And they were probably pleasantly surprised when we shifted that way to middle school. It probably felt comfortable to them, even if they didn't know what they were experiencing. So I like the shift. I think it's a great way to ask questions. And I think it really engages students and keeps them excited. So happy to see sort of the growth in that area.
Great, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Joanne.
Dr. Lyons, are you?
That's yeah. I just want to say this is really, Kevin and I have spoken about this leadership group for curriculum and the people that have cycled onto the group and the people that have cycled off that have moved into administrative slots. This is really an accomplished group. I got a call today from the Essex Community Learning Center, the director of the ECLC, who we were talking. She just wanted to let me know that Val Drinan presented on literacy what we're doing here in the district, and she said, this is one of the best presenters we've had, like just really remarkable. And Val would never say anything about this, but that feedback is pretty standard for almost any of our curriculum coordinators. Just listening to Joanne talk about science, it's a pleasure to talk to her about science. You can see how excited she is about the work that they're doing, the learning walks we go on that we're making with the coordinators. They are so excited to show the gains that our teachers are making with kids. It's really, it's unique for this district. There isn't a district that has a leadership structure like this with curriculum, and it's really paying a dividend. And we want to thank you all for the support and kind of being able to set this up. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda are the chair's comments. That's me. So yeah, this is kind of a pet peeve of mine over the last couple of months. So we're one of only, in the presentation we just heard, we're one of only 2 schools of a certain size that has gotten back to pre-pandemic levels. And what had me thinking, I think I talked with Stephen about this a couple of months ago, is like whenever I'm talking to parents or community members, everyone's talking about, and I know I'm going to get flack that I'm saying things about other groups, but I'm just going to say it. Like everyone talks about the marching band and our sports and all of our athletic programs and our extracurriculars and the awards we're winning. But like, we're a school committee. Our number one priority is pretty basic. It's academic growth, full stop, right? Like what we're doing within the classroom is the most important thing. No offense to anyone, no offense to our extracurricular people, you're doing great. But, I just, like we always recognize, and I do it myself, like I've coached, I've done all the extracurriculars. But in the end, you look at our like growth percentile, like we're hitting like 50, 60, like averaging. Like that's, it's not even like we have outliers. It's not like, we have a 90% for grade 4 math. No, it's pretty consistent growth. There's 2 towns in Eastern Mass or all of Mass that have gone back from 2020. This should be advertised across the rooftop. There should be banners on Main Street on this. And there's not. And you talk to parents about it, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's MCAS. And I know MCAS gets a bad rap, but in the end, we kicked ass this year. And we should recognize that. And we should really, like, this should be something that we really are advertising, right? So, sorry. That's it.
Exact language when we advertise it.
Yes.
I think.
But in the end, what's the game? Like, what are we here for? I think that's it. I mean, that's it. And this year we had pretty good gains, and I think that's something that really should be advertised.
That's why I thought the video was so effective and told such a compelling story, and was something you would want to watch, rather than.
We should put that out outside of Miracle.
That's why
stream it
right
on Sundays,
right? So great job with that. And great job to everybody.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you. That's great.
That was it. Sorry, that was my rant of the month. Next item on the agenda, we have subcommittee reports. Tom Markham is not here. Is there anyone on finance or facilities? Because I think you did have a meeting.
We did. So we met on Friday. Tom has a pretty regularly set schedule for upcoming meetings. There's another one late November and early December as well. In that meeting, the main focus was Christine gave us various updates on budget topics. One of the areas she discussed was concern over potential reimbursements from the federal government on the food service side, and We discussed the fact that it's good we have the funds in the revolving account. We don't yet know how some of that will land, given the current state of the federal government shutdown and what's being funded and not being funded. We received a small facilities update that the high school is progressing well and still on budget and on schedule. Those who have driven by, you can start to see a lot of the brickwork going up. Dr. Lyons gave us an update on just how much of it is weather tight, and I forget what you told me for a percentage, approximately.
I think it's probably pretty close to 70% at this point.
So it's getting there from a completion perspective, which is super exciting. I mean, it's crazy to think we're not many months away from January.
We're not. And what I did report as well, just to share with the community and the committee, is that we are on schedule and on budget. Just 2 points that we can't miss.
I'm trying to think. The other things we discussed is there is an upcoming tri-board meeting. I haven't seen a final date for it to be scheduled, but we discussed some of the material that we want to have ready for that tri-board meeting to give a state of the schools. And anything else, Melissa, that you can think of?
No, I pretty much covered it.
Okay, those are the main topics.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I don't think the tri-board meeting has been scheduled.
It hasn't. There were 2 dates, and I know
Yeah.
they're looking to move it in person versus the original discussion of Zoom, but I haven't seen any conclusion on either of those 2 dates.
Next, labor and personnel. Kevin.
Yeah, labor and personnel haven't met since our last meeting. However, we did post for upcoming negotiation sessions. First one scheduled for November 5th, and then kind of depending upon what's needed, we have November 19th, December 3rd, and December 17th. Those are scheduled to start at 7. We'll gather as a committee, a subcommittee at 6:30. They all take place in the Galvin. So November 5th. So looking forward to starting some of those discussions.
Great. Thank you. Student services, Stephen.
Student services has not met since our last meeting.
And policy and communications, Melissa.
So we have met and we have a few motions. We wanted to lay on the table this week for voting on 2 weeks from now, the IKFE policy, which is competency determinations, which we had voted on previously in the spring. This is just a formalization of that same policy with some language that the state wanted. We anticipate some additional language and additional ideas coming, and we'll update it as we go. We just wanted to get this one officially on the table for now. We also are laying on the table CTE, which is a career and technical education pathway, which basically codifies how we help kids find out about some of the schools that they can go to besides the high school, whether it's the Voc or Essex Aggie. And then ECAB, which is access to buildings and grounds, and EFBA, which is school food and nutrition, particularly meal modifications for students who need it for allergies and other disabilities. Do we have to vote on each policy to be laid on the table, or can we?
You mean, could we combine one omnibus motion as opposed to 4 motions? I guess we can. Kevin's going to make the motion.
Oh, sure.
So if you can do that.
Well, and does anyone have any questions or any conversation?
I do actually have a question on one of them.
Okay.
Should we save it for next week when we're going to actually vote, or the next session, where we actually are going to vote on the policy? Or
I mean,
I could ask it today.
We could. I mean, I feel like it makes more sense to ask today, so we can amend it while we're here if we need to.
I'm ready to ask, but want to do the motion first?
Sure.
All right.
Move that school committee lay policies IKFE, competency determinations, CTE, career and technical education, ECAB, access to buildings and grounds, and EFBA, school food and nutrition, meal modifications on the table for 2 weeks consideration and vote at the next school committee meeting on November 12th, 2025.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? All right, unanimous. That was very smart. I would have actually all four of those things. Good job. Does anyone have any questions besides me on the motion? Okay. Oh, I thought Karen was. So for the first one,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm scrolling down.
Yeah.
After I just read that. Where it says on the first page for the competency determination, where it says to show, so it says determination includes 2 accomplishments, demonstrated mastery and then the coursework, right? And then it says to show mastery, a student must complete in accordance with grading policy. And then it says number 1, final assessment for a course, which I think everyone gets. It's kind of intuitive what that is.
Yep.
And then number 3 says an equivalent measure identified in the district's CD policy. I guess, because it's like an or, right? It just has to hit one of those things. So assuming that the course didn't have a capstone project, so assuming it's 1 or 3, if a student, let's say, did not get satisfactory on the final assessment of the course, for the equivalent measure, I guess my question was, what is that? Like, do we have a definition of what this equivalent measure is?
I think we left that specifically vague, so it could be determined by the teacher and the principal.
Okay.
That was my understanding, because we're eliminating the option to use a standard like MCAS, which the way the policy is written right now is only the MCAS from 2023 qualifies, right? That there should be some back and forth between the administration and teachers and students to try and figure out how to get there.
Okay.
And I mean, most of the coursework is early grade level coursework for high school, so it's not like you're going to be in 12th grade taking class, finishing the assessment, and then realizing that you haven't met the competency determination.
Right.
It's 2 years of English, 2 years of math, 1 year of science, 1 year, eventually 1 year of civics. It's not even 1 year of civics yet.
Yeah.
Or social studies. I can't remember how they worked it.
Okay. All right. That's my question. All right. Anyone else?
Anyone else? Feel free to email me.
Okay. So we'll vote on that on the next.
Yep, those are on the table.
accept the
If anyone besides people on the committee have any questions, absolutely feel free to reach out to me.
Nicely done.
That's good. Do we have any liaison reports? Mr. Ramos.
ESC will be conducting their yearly pumpkin drop at the elementary schools in town. That'll be Wednesday, November 5th of next week. So if you happen to have jack-o'-lanterns that you are done with, and they are not painted or have glitter or any other thing that couldn't be composted, feel free to bring them by your local elementary school, and there should be a tarp, and you just drop them there.
Okay, thank you. Melissa.
Youth Council is meeting tomorrow, so I'll have a better update 2 weeks from now.
Okay. All right, seeing no others. Next agenda item, future dates. Next school committee meeting is on Wednesday, November 12th at 7 o'clock, as of right now. And next item on the agenda, school committee comments. Does anyone have any comments? Wow,
Can I do future agenda items?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, agenda items. That is correct. I'm sorry. Do you want any agenda items?
I'd like to see if we could get something on the calendar for school tours. Something on the calendar for a school tour of the new high school, because it's been a little bit, and it'd be nice to get over there before I got to be in a winter parka. Although if we're at 70%.
Tim O'Brien already has dates for the new school tours.
Did I miss an email?
No.
It's forthcoming.
He hasn't sent them out yet. Yes.
Great. And then lastly, is it possible to get a presentation on because I'm blanking on the name already, the visual data system that we've started, Open Architects, that we've started to employ.
Sure.
And sort of just, and maybe a couple of educators or coordinators that use that tool so that we can sort of see it in action.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely give an overview at this point, but just in terms of teacher presenting, or we're at the level where we've trained admin, we've trained curriculum coordinators from the summer. They're still building up their familiarity. We're hoping, like maybe later in the year, to launch teacher
So
access.
it'd be January, we plan to start using it with teachers. And so, but we can give an overview.
Yeah, we could even do just a kind of similar to what we've done at admin meetings of like what it can do and.
It'd be maybe nice to walk through the dashboard and sort of see like this is how we can visualize this data set versus this data set and what we envision educators are being able to use it as a tool. It doesn't have to be next meeting or anything. I just, as we were talking about, we talk about it every so often at meetings. And I'm like, I know we're using it. I'd just like to kind of see I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Agenda items? Or comments?
So Dr. Lyons already touched upon this topic, but Sunday, November 2nd is your last opportunity to see the 2025 Wakefield Warrior Marching Band. They'll be up in Lawrence performing at 6:55 p.m., if my memory serves me right. And I've said this many times over my years on the school committee, but we sometimes take for granted, or people could take for granted, that the type of output you see from these kids is the same type of output you see from other schools throughout the Commonwealth, or maybe even most of the country. And as someone who has been to most of those shows in New England, I can tell you that is not true. The output from our students is impressive, and it comes down to their hard work and all of the staff that puts in countless hours working with these kids. They're there outside in the freezing cold tonight. They're there many evenings per week until late into the evening. So if you do have an opportunity to travel up to Lawrence on Sunday, you can see them for the last opportunity to see their 2025 Gatsby show.
Thank you. Melissa?
So it's Halloween coming up. I want to wish everyone a happy Halloween, but also wanted to highlight some things that are happening. The Wakefield Memorial High School has Fright Night, I believe tomorrow night at 7 o'clock here at the high school. Is it here at the high school or is it Galvin? Yeah. Here at the high school. Thursday night at Galvin at 7 o'clock, the orchestra is performing a spectacular strings festival. And then on Saturday night, there's an a cappella concert also at Galvin featuring Wakefield Memorial High School students, so among other high schools in the area.
And then you just made me remember that Thursday at 6:30, the pumpkins from the high school students are going to be on the library steps.
Thanks, Pete. I forgot that.
All right, any other comments? All right. Oh, excuse me. Last item is, I think we have another motion.
Move the school committee adjourn its meeting of Tuesday, October 28th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, see you in 2 weeks.
Other programs like that?
Yeah, so actually you can get a free math evaluation today. So essentially that's just going to put the child into the right level so that they can just hop right on in.
Okay, that's great. What grades do you guys go from?